The pictures tell the story. This life had many shades. I'd wake up every morning, and before I'd start each day, I'd take a drag from last night's cigarette that smoldered in its tray. Down a little something, then be on my way.
What up, fellas? We're all back again. It's the Whiskey Rebellion. Hey, if you're not following us, liking us, subscribe, all that nonsense, smash all those buttons or smash each other. I don't even care. Hey, first thing I want to start out with is we need to say a prayer to our president. He's had a really rough week, had cancer and COVID all in the last 2 days. So hope you recover there, tough guy. Anyhow, guys, everybody, welcome to the show, man. How's everybody doing?
Blessed, black, and highly favored. Jesus Christ.
You was ready with that one, huh?
Listen.
How about that intro, by the way? Wasn't that something better than the damn countdown?
Yes, that was
beautiful.
nice. Yes.
I just want Jody from now on to report on Biden's health, no matter what's happening.
Well, I mean, I was sitting there and I flipped through the Twitter yesterday, and I was like, "Holy hell, he's got cancer!" And then I wake up this morning on Channel 2 News, he's got COVID.
I saw the COVID thing. I didn't know about the cancer.
He doesn't have cancer. He just don't know how to speak.
Well,
what he said was he said, just like me and living here in, I guess, Delaware, Scranton. I don't know where the hell he's from, Scranton or Delaware or wherever. Okay, so anyway, he was like, me and my friends, that's the reason why a lot of us have cancer. And of course, the world stopped and go like, "You got cancer? Like, is this how you just let people know?" That's not what he meant to say, of course. But anyway, so I don't want to talk about that though. Hey, I do want to talk about something though that kind of goes along those lines. It kind of parallels that, because we can all look at what social media has done to our relationships and see how have become somewhat divisive in some areas and stuff of that nature. But we can also look at it. How did social media affect the bourbon world? And I'm so glad that Chuck's on here, because I really wanted to talk to Chuck about this, because I took an 8-year hiatus of drinking. I didn't drink at all for 8 years. And so like the internet was, Al Gore introduced it back in the 90s. And then all of a sudden, boom, here's Facebook and all this nonsense. And then I started drinking again. So I don't really know that before time. And I'm sure, a few of you guys might. So anyway, I want to know how the social media has changed the bourbon communities for the bourbon community.
I've been drinking bourbon and smoking cigars well before a lot of these different platforms have popped up. And I will say, I think it was a more kinder, gentler place, Yeah, Jody, just eat it up, buddy. But I think what's happening...
Biden, I didn't stop you from saying anything. You just talk. Yeah. Just do your thing.
Exactly.
I'll walk you back here in a minute.
Cool. What I think's happened is it's made people think that they have to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, instead of, playing by your own rules. Afford what you can afford. I mean, listen, I'm sure that Joseph Magnus is absolutely phenomenal, but what, I paid $200 for it? No, I wouldn't do it. I'm sure it is.
Well, it's just like yesterday, and pardon me for interrupting, but like yesterday, a friend of mine who hit me up about bourbon. She's wanting to buy some. She needs a bottle of Eagle Rare and also 107 for her husband. That's what she's looking for. And I'm like, well, I have both, but I don't know if I have enough of it to just, give it out. But they do have some of Best Buys, or not Best Buys, but bestsellers right now. But anyway, that's not relevant. The point I make with it is that I immediately said to her, I was like, hey, have you gotten him the company? Like, I bought some company today. Like, I buy that every time I see it. That is some of the best bourbon that's come out on the market. And it's $49. It's freaking on point. Now, it's not as hot as a 107, but it's still 90 proof, I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And again, I think it's something where people have started to feel like they have to keep up with the Joneses, especially when it comes to a lot of these Facebook groups. People tend to think, you're not in the game if you don't have all these unicorns. And if the one thing everybody's aware of is that even if you can find these bottles, I don't care how much money I got. I'm not paying nobody $3,000 for shit. Ain't no way in holy hell I'm gonna convince myself to do that. Ain't no way in holy hell I'm gonna come home and tell my wife I paid $3,000 for a bottle of alcohol. Not with the way I build shelves. Hell no.
Save that money for a motel because you're gonna be staying there for a while.
Yeah. So, for me, I just feel like it's taking it to a place to where people now are putting themselves in a bad position in order to keep up, but it's all based on social media. I know a lot of you guys are not on TikToks, but there's a bourbon TikTok, and listen, these guys around here holding bottles, flipping them in the air, and these are $800-$900 bottles. I'm like, okay, I mean, listen, I'm not mad at you, but for somebody who's coming into this field or this hobby, if you look at your first bottle and think you got to spend $600-$700 to be in, I mean, you're just foolish. I mean, I can tell you by far, I think the most expensive bottle I've purchased was probably around $200.
Yeah, we're not playing that game. We're not going to do that here. This is public information. I'm not doing that.
Right. So for me, it was one of those things where I kind of hate it to that point. And listen, being a business owner, I have to use social media to promote myself, and it helps. But this whole keeping up with the Joneses thing, I think, is way out of hand.
I think it also, though, brings a lot of divisiveness to the community. And there's some positives. I want to make sure we're clear on that. There's positives, and we're going to talk about that. But there is a negative to it as well. Like, for example, chugging. When I see people chugging like Eagle Rare 17, I just want to literally watch them their face explode on TV or something or on the screen. Or, maybe they just go into cardiac arrest in the middle of that. That would seem like justice. But, you see people doing that kind of stuff, and you're like, and it makes you angry. It makes me angry, I'll be honest with you. But I also find that chugging anything is in my opinion, very elementary, maybe even adolescent behavior. Mm-hmm. And that's not something that I would partake in. I don't really, I do knock it. I want to make sure we're clear on that. But if that's what if you do, just realize that there are some of us that are going to be laughing at you and maybe even wishing your death. But anyway, what about some other people?
I think you make a good point. If I can jump in just briefly, the fact that someone can chug Eagle Rare 17 and piss you off to the point that we are talking about it now is why they did it, because nothing drives engagement like outrage. That's the way the algorithm works on pretty much every social media platform. If it pisses people off, they'll engage more, they'll talk about it more, they'll fight about it more. Someone says that's stupid, someone else makes fun of that person for saying that's stupid, like it's a flex or something like that. And this entire fucking game that people play about it, that's the entire point.
What about like if you say Jack Daniels is bourbon, and it is, but just to say that will start a fire on
it'll start an entire war on. It doesn't matter what page you're on.
You guys remember like Triumph the Insult Comic Dog?
Yeah.
He did this great bit, or the comedian that does the puppeting, when I think it was like episode 2 of Star Wars came out, and it was like the Clone War thing. I can't even remember the name of it anymore. And it's like the people who are like standing in line to go see the premiere of the movie, and he does this trivia thing, like, what was Han Solo frozen in? The whole crowd goes, carbonite. He says, no, I'm sorry. The correct answer is, who gives a shit? Right? And that's what I think about the argument about whether or not Jack Daniels is bourbon. Who gives a shit? Drink it if you like.
Yeah. Right.
That's my take.
If you're like Jody, you just don't drink it and you hate on it.
This is true. I have nothing nice to say about it.
I get it.
Oh, hell. Mark, who's in our VIP, said, right now, it's a video on TikTok saying Jack Daniels is a cognac.
Oh, Jesus.
and look at the reaction. That's why it works.
Well, first of all, the thing with TikTok, the Chinese are, they own TikTok. I'm sure you
Yep.
guys knew that. All right. And, TikTok pays people to do stupid dances and all this nonsense and this, that, and whatever for their likes and hits and follows or whatever. And I just imagine them sitting over there because there ain't no damn way in that communist country they're allowing people to act like jackasses like we allow our people to make money. They're probably sitting over there going, we're learning how to do math problems or something like that. That's probably what they're doing, but they're probably laughing their ass
They have
off.
curated content over there, not to get like political or whatever, but they cut like their users off, especially young people at night, and they promote educational content while they let us entertain ourselves with stupid human tricks and, cute cat videos or whatever. Like
Yeah. And one other thing that I don't like about what social media has done to not only the bourbon world but a lot of other things as well. It's gaslighted people very much to the point of where it's almost hateful, if you will. If you say Blanton's is garbage or this, that, or
That's
the other.
another hot topic right
Oh,
there.
yeah, but that's just being a troll there.
Right. And it's one of those things where people take it from what the subject is to you're this and you're that, or you're not this, and now you want to get personal with me. And for me, I think that really kills the overall experience of, hey, if we're decent enough to each other, we can actually learn something from each other. And I think that gets missed. And you're right, Jody. You're 1,000% right. Whereas in other countries, that kind of thing is not. I think the world is probably laughing at us to a certain extent because we do stuff that will get you hurt or killed or locked up for likes and tweets and retweets. And I mean, these are like real deal stuff. I mean, who told you to eat a full spoon of cinnamon? Or who
Tide
told
Pods.
you to? Yeah, it's like, who told you that you should eat a spoonful of pre-workout mix? Like, really? I mean, they're not.
What about like
sometimes that's
the
a good
middle
idea.
school kids who dare each other to like trash their school bathrooms and stuff? Like, this was already millions of dollars of property damage across the country because somebody thought that should be a thing that young people do.
But I think the big distilleries and maybe even some of the small ones, I don't want to say they eat it up, but every time somebody says they hate Blanton's makes like $1 million.
Yeah. Because they're gonna fight about it. That's the point.
Yeah, and it's
First of all, nobody hates Blanton's. They're lying every time they say that.
No. Well, of course, that's the debate. Like the other day, I saw. So I'm drinking Green Spot right now. I saw somebody one of the bourbons.
That's a good one.
This is gonna be a battle kill tonight, probably. But somebody had given a review that said it was basically the same thing as Jameson, which I think is insane. Like to draw like a 1-to-1 comparison, but at the same time, I immediately recognized. They said that to incite a response from people. The wisest thing a person can do when they see something like that is just ignore it.
Yep.
Like,
Scroll on.
don't give them what they want.
That's a Joe Rogan thing. Don't follow your mentions. Don't even.
Yeah, I don't. When I do YouTube videos of anything, I never ever read the comments.
Well, he says you can definitely read them, just don't respond.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do either. But I hear you.
What about
anyway,
you?
let's talk about some of the good stuff though. Like there are some definitely good things that come from.
We're
I would
together.
love to hear. Let me hear what
social media.
I would love
That's
to hear
how we
what
got
Chuck
this
has on
together
that.
for sure.
Exactly. Here we are.
That's how Billy grew his business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
What do you
That's how
think
me
about
and
it,
David
Chuck?
met each other.
Yeah. Yeah, there are positives, but you have to know how to use it right. Like, and it's not designed for any of us to use it right. You have to be smarter than the machine, basically. But it can result in good things. It's like Billy with your business, and your brand essentially. The fact that we all get along, we do this barcast. I have a podcast. Like there can be good parts of it, but like you got to be so careful. And honestly, if I didn't do this stuff, I would probably just pack it in because it's not worth it.
Yeah. Let's hear from Chuck.
Yes.
Well, to touch on what Jody mentioned about Jack Daniels, Yeah, people that just get on there and say Jack Daniels sucks or Blanton sucks or Jack Daniels is bourbon or whatever it may be. Yeah, they're just being trolls because that's been played out over and over and over and over again on every one of the groups. And it's just to basically get some, outrage and, people raging on there and, freaking out and going nuts and getting pissed off and everything else. That's all it's about. It's about getting a rise out of people. See what they can push buttons.
But let me ask you this. One of the things I find very positive about the social media and the bourbon communities is I've been introduced to newer maybe expressions, different things that come out, things I didn't even know I wanted. Mm-hmm. And, after reading other people's notes on it or seeing their videos, whatever it might have been that I wanted to try. And it's almost like CrossFit, the first rule of CrossFit, you always talk about it, but it's almost like it's like a community of people who only want to talk about bourbon and stuff of that nature, which is very positive. And what I was wanting to hear from Chuck or even Gino or Rob, whomever, I don't care who takes this. Before all of this, if you guys were consuming bourbon or been in the bourbon clique beforehand,
I would say I was skimming the surface.
Agreed, Mark. Sorry.
That's pretty much how I would phrase it. I was skimming the surface of bourbon.
Yep.
I didn't know and had no knowledge of certain different brands, this and that. And I was just, I definitely wouldn't be as far along in my tastes and what I like, what I've acquired, if it wasn't for the social media.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about you, Chuck?
Now, for me, before, the internet happened and everything, I was...
Before Al Gore. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, before Al Gore invented that. I was basically enjoying a little of everything. And the retailers that I shopped with noticed that. And they were basically like, well, you just don't come in here and buy a bottle of, this Foursquare. And this isn't just your go-to. You buy a little of this, you buy a little of that, you buy a little of everything. As far as bourbons go, and maybe vodka as well.
BBC.
Yes.
With that mouthful, don't act like we don't see it.
Squirrel.
And immediately turned off his camera. Sorry, Chuck. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I had to finish chewing.
Then my locals basically said, look, since you buy a little of everything, you're just not here for one thing. Why don't you try this? So they, turned me on to George T. Stagg early on, as well as Eagle Rare 17. Those were two of my items that I would get a lot of when they came out. I would get 3 to 4 bottles of them, of each, from one retailer, because he would say, look, I have this stuff and you can have it all, because I have people that just want to buy canned beer and they're not interested in this stuff. Do you want it? I'd say, sure.
Sure.
So that was basically, and I had no,
damn it, Al Gore.
and I had no idea about the, what it was valued at. I would just drink it, like it was nothing. I didn't mix it or anything like that because it was a high proof. Most of the George C. Stagg.
Or what it would blow up to. I mean, part of what we're talking about, the internet has taken those George T. Staggs and Eagle Rare 17s and absolutely blown them up to astronomical pricing. Mm-hmm. Whether it's on secondary and even straight out the gate from what you see they should be charged, what they should be charging is MSRP.
Yeah. And at the time I was probably paying $54 maybe for the Eagle Rare 17, and the George T. Stagg may have been $69 at the time.
We're gonna start a hashtag. Wow. Damn it, Al Gore.
Yeah.
I believe he'll do that too. That's hilarious.
If it wasn't for him, we could still have George T. Stagg at that price.
Yes.
And Eagle Rare.
And think about like Pappy and Colonel Taylor, all of those. Like hell, I was at a liquor store not far from me in Smyrna, And I saw the Colonel Taylor single barrel up on the shelf. I didn't see a price by it, and I was like, "This probably isn't good." But I'm going to ask.
Probably $200.
$199, and I was like, "No, I paid like $50 for the last bottle that I had,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that long ago."
Sorry.
But like that is, that is the force multiplier of social media on the interest in these things.
Oh,
Well,
by the
one
way,
thing you have
the liquor store is slowly progressing more.
Nice.
So my daughter is coming up next weekend from Atlanta, and there's a pretty good little liquor store right at the top of her street. She's like, so she knows I want some Old Fourth bottled and bond. I'm like, she's like, well, what do you want? What whiskey of theirs do you want? I'm like, they only make one whiskey. Get the Old Fourth bottled and bond. Rocky, you'll know what you need. Then I need you to take your phone and just put me on do a FaceTime call and just walk through the bourbon aisle. And I'm going to tell you what I want you to bring me because she's driving. She's not flying.
There you go.
I'll just Venmo you the money and we'll, you'll be all good.
Now, another thing about this is before the internet, you had Craigslist. And I know we're going off in a different direction here.
How'd you have Craigslist before the internet?
I think he means like social media.
Yeah, and the newspapers. I'm sorry. Yeah.
The real
Oh, okay.
options-
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
That
sorry.
was like the classifieds.
Yeah, the newspaper
OG.
classifieds. And that's where you would basically had the start of secondary. Then it went to Craigslist. And you would have ads, for a bottle of
I
whatever
only
it may
looked at the
be.
misconnections on Craigslist.
Don't lie. We know why you were on there.
Yes, we do. Farmers only.
Somebody want to do something
You're gonna try to get
strange
a-
for some change?
You're gonna get some if you're gonna go out of the way to make sure it's it's gonna happen, then you do like plenty of fish or something like that. But anyway, moving on.
But then we have influencers now too with the internet. Like Fred Minnick. Look what he's done with Henry McKenna 10. That blew up back in 2019.
Well, it's the same thing with like the bourbon junkies did. They've blown up a ton of different.
Yeah.
I watch them all the time, not just because they're funny, but because some of the picks they get, I'm like, I could see that, I could try that, and I like the notes they get from it, and they bring kind of a shenanigans type of twist to it that keeps me occupied, and after having a long day of dealing with people, it's nice to have something that's not people. Who's got the echo on? Because I can hear it. Is that you, Mark? Is that the BBC?
He's muted.
He's muted.
Oh, okay.
But you know who else I think has played a part in it? So aside from social media, the TV and movie industry, because I love John Wick, so I want to drink what John Wick drinks, which is black.
I'd
Or
rather own all the guns he has.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
exactly.
by far.
Or both.
But it's one of those things
By the way,
where
prior to my unfortunate boating accident, I had all those guns.
I don't like those boating accidents. They're terrible.
yeah,
I know it's
Happens
just
all
like
the time.
But hey, here's the good thing is it'll be like Lake Mead when they get down.
You have
to the
that?
lower
Did
level.
you used to have that shotgun he used in the second one?
Yep.
That thing was amazing.
Yep.
Is that the
That's a
Italian
Mossberg.
one? Or was it a
No,
Mossberg?
or it might be a Benelli.
It was a
I
I
Benelli.
thought it was a Benelli.
Okay, so yeah. So yeah, I have a Benelli. Or I had. I'm sorry.
Had.
Yeah,
Sorry
I
about
had a
that.
tactical Benelli, and then I had a Mossberg as well. Had all of this is past tense.
I have one present tense.
So the
590.
Mossberg was probably a 905, 925.
No. We'll talk offline about it.
Oh,
so and me being like a Michter's fanboy, even before I started watching Billions, but when I seen it on Billions, I was like, oh no, for sure now. So I think that also plays a part.
What's
so
Billions?
It's a show on.
Is it an HBO or Showtime?
I think it's HBO or Showtime. You got to watch it. It's
It's
absolutely amazing.
what is it? Paul Giamatti and I
Who the
can't
hell is
remember.
Paul Giamatti?
Shit. Who? What else was he in?
Yeah.
He was in Cinderella Man. He was like the trainer / buddy.
Never seen that movie either.
About the boxer? You hadn't seen that?
No.
It's a good movie.
I don't
Anyway.
doubt that it is. I just didn't see it. Also, he's a black dude.
Paul Giamatti is not a black.
That's his brother.
That's
It's his brother. I'm with you. Well, I did. He calls everybody his brother. So how am I supposed to know this? But that is his brother.
He's actually on stage at the moment. This is the finals.
Oh, that's crazy.
I
Looks
teach you how
good,
to get
man.
fit if you
Yeah.
really want me to.
How old's your brother?
A year older.
Really?
All right.
Yeah, just a year older.
Friday. That's funny.
Watching him do that hurts my shoulders. Just watching him
Friday.
flex.
Listen,
I'm like,
before I don't want to get too far off, but listen, when I went to my daughter's graduation, of course, I stayed with my brother, and him and his girlfriend, they have this regiment. I kid you not, my brother eats, I think, like 12 times a day. It's all
How
like
much does he work
scheduled out.
out?
Sometimes 2-3 times a day. And listen, when I tell you this, I wish I had a picture. It would freak you out. The gym that my brother has in his basement will make Planet Fitness look like dog shit. Honestly,
Well,
sure.
You gotta see my gym.
One of the last days I was there, my brother got a delivery from FedEx. You know, most people get the little FedEx truck, pulls up and whatever. This box truck pulls up behind my brother's house, and the guy has an automatic pallet jack, and it is a pallet full of weights. So much so that even with this electric pallet jack, he struggled to get this thing up into the garage. I'm looking at my brother, I'm like, you know what? I love what you do, but you're a goddamn idiot. And it's funny because when he weighs out his food, he puts it on the scale, and I'm like, he's like this with it. I'm like, dude, are you eating or are you bagging up some stuff? Like, what's really going on here? But the way they do it, when I tell you, listen, my brother be up at 11:30 at night eating because it's on his schedule. The other day we were talking, he sent me a screenshot. His body fat was like 4 point something. I'm like, what?
Nice.
I'm like, dude, I'm like 80% body fat.
well, what's that like?
Crazy shit right
I'm gonna take a drink.
You're like an alcohol proof, right?
Yeah. So, listen, I give it up to him because the dedication that it takes is just ridiculous. So I'm really proud of him, and not to get too sappy, but I think like for the first time in my life, I know I look up to my brother. Like I'm really.
That's amazing. No, it's awesome that he does that.
Yeah.
And it's awesome that you're supportive.
Well, and when you're talking about the eating regimen, that's just one of those things that if you're into that lifestyle, it's. I have several friends who do it as well, and I mean, it's all about small meals spread out 10, 12 meals a day. They may do 500 calories, 1,000 calories, 500 calories. Oh, I did a workout. I got a workout at 5 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, I've got to eat 1,500 calories to replace what I burned off.
Sure.
I mean, it's amazing to have that kind of discipline alone.
I work out every day, but I eat like a fat kid at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
I don't work out at all, and I just eat like a fat kid. So.
Listen, I eat hot dogs, I eat barbecue, and drink alcohol.
Nathan's makes some great hot dogs. Holy hell. But we're getting off topic here.
Yeah.
Let's get back to social media and stuff of that nature.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of, we can sit here and bash it, and it makes us all look old. And I think what we really need to do is people need to be dancing around and stuff. This
Does bourbon industry affect the NRA? But that's an interesting social media point when people post pictures of like their whiskey glass or the bottle and a gun, and then like half of the people in that group lose their shit about it. Like, oh, guns and alcohol don't go together. Like, I'll say, as the person who everyone knows at this point is on the left, like it's asinine to assume that someone is drinking while using a firearm at the same time just because they're in a picture together. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank
to
you for
me,
coming to my TED Talk.
to me, like when I see those kind of posts, it depends on what kind of gun it is. If I'm going to hit like or love or whatever. But I'll be honest with you. If I see a 1911, definitely a Kimber or an old, like a true 1911, or maybe even a nice custom from the custom shop of Smith and Wesson or something like that, and I see one of those.
Then there's a chubby coming.
Yeah, oh, dude, I'm totally. I passed slightly aroused and went straight on to full arousal.
Yes.
I'm want to find something to hammer down with right away.
It's not even a chubby. It's just a full on tuna can.
Yeah.
It's that morning wood in the middle of the day.
Standing up and saluting.
And Jenny, I just shared something with you, speaking because my grandfather passed and stuff. That it should be the case that I am going to acquire his service revolver and
nice.
a Japanese rifle that he recovered recovered from the war while he was over there. Yeah, so I'll put that in the after hours actually, so you guys can take a look at that.
But also,
so I'm just excited about it. So
I do feel as if the internet has had some positive influence. Of course, groups like this, some of us have met in person, but we treat each other as family. We all hate David. And
that's what I'm here for.
Joey's got his PhD, player hating dickhead. But, it's all love. No, but
there's some truth to that.
There's definitely truth to it.
Not expecting that.
But just I would say one of the better aspects of it is the education I've gotten from being around you guys, and some of the things I've picked up on in the internet, and even if it includes how not to act. Let me do this again. How not to act. Also,
I don't need your axe and your axe.
Do it. I knew you were going to do it.
Exactly.
Come on, you know what's coming, man.
Player hating dickhead.
Also,
QED.
also not learning how not to overpay, learning how to build those kind of relationships. And I am truly impressed with the education that I get from you guys. Like when Chuck puts out his bourbon news, I actually take the time and go through it because it's something that I don't know if you can really find anywhere else. Where he gets the information, it's a lot of it, I
agree.
But then it transfers. So if somebody has a question about, grilling or smoking or cooking, you guys can pick something up from me. It's just one of these different aspects that we all get. And let's face it, this whole premise that we have here is based off the internet.
Oh yeah, it was birthed during the lockdowns, and we weren't allowed to hang out anymore, and stuff of that nature. And it was like, hey, how can we still hang out and have a few drinks? And then that just grew to literally, I think 3 of us. And then it was like, at one point there was a lot of us, and then there was people who were Zoom bombing us and stuff, and this, that, and whatever. And it became a lot of fun. And then the community just grew. And what I like about our community versus a lot of the other communities is that there is not only just in the VIP, but also just on the page, it's a lot of not only good information, but also a lot of brotherly and sisterly type behavior. Like I've never had to get on there and go, hey guys, you're going to knock this crap off. Now we've had to kick out people that are trying to sell shit, because that's not what.
Those are just fake accounts,
right?
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
But like every time I see one, I'm like, not today, ISIS. So, and that's kind of how it is. It is a lot of fun, a lot of good information, that's definitely related there. And then I love some of the contacts we've made, like, meeting up with, honestly, Billy and Mark, I just sent a message to, and I was like, hey, dude, I like what you guys are posting. How would you guys be interested in just coming on and chatting with me and stuff like that? And then they came on, and then I'm not quite sure how Chuck came into it, but it was almost like he was, I hate to say it this way, so please don't take offense to this, but it was almost like we're the Hells Angels and he was like tag along for a while. And then all of a sudden he became a full, vetted member all of a sudden, and it really
got his cut.
He was a prospect.
He was he was a hang around first, and then he became a prospect. And then we coerced him to be fully vetted, wearing the colors and on the show. So, and then of course Gino and Rob and stuff of that nature.
I actually believe it was Billy that got me in.
I believe that's true.
Mark. I can't sell my bourbon mixer.
I think I was pre Billy and pre Mark, but
Yeah.
You were one of the
Rob's OG. Yeah, he's been around basically forever, man.
Actually, on this page, the OGs are me, you, and Rob right now.
It may be time to reach out to our friend Hal and see if he wants to come back for a show.
Hal and Annie.
Oh, wow.
Hal, Annie. And
Which Annie?
The guy who doesn't drink plays hockey.
Conrad.
No, we're talking about Zach there, but
he doesn't explain heads in the VIP chat. The one that doesn't.
I love Zach.
Okay.
Is that asshole?
Who, Zach? Zach just doesn't drink. He just comes. He's like Dave Chappelle.
He's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's freaking
He played
coached
hockey or something and played it.
Yeah, talking about the internet. Dave Chappelle yesterday got they closed down one of his venues where he was playing. Another place opened up, and he was able to still do a show. But did y'all hear how many signatures they had? 123. I was like, that's it? You guys closed it down for 123? Like, look, dude, we picked, like, comedian, like, that's where we've gotten in this world. Like, I've talked to every one of you guys outside of here, and I've heard all of you guys talk bad about everybody, mostly to include your own people. All right?
Mm-hmm.
You fill in the blanks where that's at. All right? But at the same time, we've heard on air us all make fun of each other, and it's like, dude, it's all good. Like, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, this, that, and whatever. And that's the one that is a huge negative. Like, and doxing. Like, I got doxed recently, and I'm like, really? Like, you're going to dox me because I called you a useless idiot because you don't know what an AR is? And you keep calling it an assault rifle? I mean, you're going to dox me for that?
Whiskey show, guys. Jody, I love you, but like we're
right.
treading a little far into the politics and cancel culture and all that stuff. Hey, not that I'm not happy to talk about this stuff, but I love kind of keeping this just about like positive and fun and community.
No, we haven't talked about what the hell is everybody drinking tonight?
Oh yeah.
So I'm drinking Chuck's bottle right here. This is Chuck's bottle. Okay, I'm lying. It's not Chuck's. Chuck, you're getting this. It's on the way.
Oh, that's okay if you were, actually.
It's literally Chuck's.
138 proof, 9-year.
Holy shit.
Sweeter.
Wow.
Sweet.
Wow.
I had to wait till the day because the day is the coolest it's been. I was scared to put out at 130 proof.
Yeah.
Can you turn the bottle a little bit so I can see the rest of the label? Special.
Yeah, my light is kind of. Oh, there we go.
Okay, it's dry fly. Okay.
Yeah, and this was the
Nice.
sticker.
Okay.
It's a pick.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's a cool sticker.
Nice.
So I'll go next because I'm drinking a 9-year as well. I'm drinking Blue Note 9-year. And freaking, if you haven't had, first of all, I think Blue Note's one of the best up and coming bourbon companies out there right now. Here, located in Tennessee. I believe it's an MGP, if I'm correct by that. I do think they have some of their own distillate, but
Crossroads is great.
Oh, Crossroads is on point. Yeah, it's very good.
Crossroads is their distillate, if I believe, but their older product is still coming from MGP.
All right, Billy, you were up next.
So, this is not nor an expensive bottle or any kind of unicorn. Even with inflation, this thing was still only $24. Last time I bought it was like 19.
That's a unicorn of the people that live in Pumpkin Beans.
Yeah, that it is.
Yes.
But it's one of these things.
Hey, I'm intrigued. I want to hear it.
It's even a twist top. But let me tell you, even having this over the rocks or straight up, or even with a mixer, I'm trying to, get the wife onto this instead of bullet. Just something different. And she had it yesterday, and the wife has a heavy hand, which I'm okay with. But nevertheless, but it's actually really, really good. I think a lot of times people don't give doers enough credit sometimes,
I'm one
or
of those people.
like a Jim Beam doesn't get enough credit sometimes. But this is something that you can easily find, that it's going to always be reasonable. And if you wanted to start in with something, this would be something that would ease you into it. It's not hot, it's not harsh on the palate, it's not harsh on the wallet. But somebody would say, "Oh, you're not this because you only have that." But listen, let's be real. Any ounce of alcohol you have in your house is strictly a luxury item. So, I don't feel the need that you need to try to start somebody off with a $200 bottle of something that they can't even find.
Yes, Mark, Deers. Yeah, and honestly, like I haven't tried a Deers since probably one of the first times Jody and I hung out. I brought a bottle of White Label to his house, which he was disgusted by, of course.
And I gave it back to you later.
You did give it back. You gave it back to me like 3 years later. That's how long it probably sat under. If he puts it under his bar, like if you saw the little opening video of like the down under of the bar, like we're gonna hide this shit because we're a little bit embarrassed that it's here. Like that's where it sat for like 3 years. He's like, "Hey, you want this?" I'm like, "I'm pretty sure that's mine." He's like, "Yeah, it's yours. It's disgusting." So I took it back and finished it.
I
It's
appreciate
not
you bringing it, but you can take it back with you.
sure. And this is before I had a real understanding of how much he hated just everything that's Scotch. But based on your recommendation, Billy, I will try that. I'll look for that on the shelf.
Yeah, it's easy. It's everywhere. Gino, what you drinking, big dog?
This I picked up on a lark the same time I got the Blood Oath. It's
Hey, what's a lark? I don't know what that means.
It's a bird, small little bird.
Bird.
Is it called lark?
Dark spout.
He says, when I go to get my barrel pick, I'm going to put you guys for my label.
There you go.
That'd be cool. Put our faces on there, man. Mark. And let us know when you do, because, we may be interested in acquiring.
All right, so
FYI.
back to the lark. So
Yes.
is that a term you use to say
Yeah.
like I'm okay
On a whim.
That's what I was okay
On a whim.
You never heard that?
No, I've never heard it, or wouldn't have asked, David.
Yeah, sheltered life, Yeah.
And it's Axe, by the way.
Next
No,
time
but
we
this
do
is,
a
from
bloopers
the
reel,
Taconic-
this moment.
This is from the Taconic Distilleries. They're in New York. It's their double barrel maple bourbon.
Ooh, I like maple. That's one
And
reason I love.
just to read the description,
the
you
company.
would think that it's overly sweet, got the maple like too sweet to drink, but this is actually rather pleasant. It reminds me in a way of the company.
yeah, that's what I just said.
What's the
Yeah,
name?
And it's up in New York. It's their own juice, from what I can understand,
Ragtime?
from what I can see. It's about 90 proof. What they do is they
post a picture of it in the VIP.
will do. They'd
I'll look for it.
yeah, they do their bourbon up in the barrel, rack it off, fill it with syrup, leave the syrup in there for a few months, rack that off, put the bourbon back in. And
Is it ragtime?
it's very nice.
What's the name on it, Gino?
It's a Taconic Distillery.
Okay.
Huh.
Here we go.
Hmm.
I'd never seen it before either, and I was like, okay.
You know what? Why
Sounds
not?
good.
Yeah.
My local, the local Pittsburgh whiskey group I'm in got last year a barrel pick from a place in a rye in New York. It was Ragtime Rye.
Mm.
It was very, very good. Still sitting back there somewhere on the shelf, but
Nice.
some
Did we-
decent stuff coming out of there.
Did we see what Chuck was drinking?
I'll
We
be
did not
stopping at
see.
that store again tomorrow, Jody. They've got one there. You might find its way down to Tennessee.
Cool deal. Yeah.
Well, I started today with Foursquare Indelible. Picked this up today.
Now, is that a rum or is that a bourbon?
Yes, it's a rum. It's an 11-year. And it's very good for the price I paid for it. Very impressed.
What did you get for it, if you don't mind?
$62.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Not for a Foursquare product.
Yeah, for a Foursquare, that's about as low as you're going to go.
And then, of course, I picked up Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend Bourbon Batch 85, which I'm drinking right now. And this stuff is actually fantastic.
Give us some notes on that.
This one, basically, I get a lot of butterscotch pudding.
Butterscotch pudding.
Yes.
I've never even heard of that. Is that a Maryland thing?
No, it's butterscotch puddings.
Who cares? It sounds amazing.
You've never had a pudding cup before? Think of Bill Cosby.
No, I mean, well, of course. I mean,
well, he had it, but then he passed out.
Yeah, I was going to say he probably could have molested me too. I mean, it would have happened.
Listen, just to look on Chuck's face. God damn it! You didn't tell me you never had a. What's your Goma Pal? What in the actual fuck?
Choke yourself.
What is your malfunction?
Yeah, with this stuff, I get a lot of butterscotch pudding, toffee, a lot of red fruits like raspberry, cherry.
Would you get apple then? Apple and strawberry? They're red.
Yes. Fruit. Believe it or not, I got apple juice on this one.
Okay.
Apple juice. I mean, this stuff is multifaceted, layered. I mean, for the price point, I didn't pay full, MSRP for it. I paid much less than that for it. But this stuff is it's fantastic. First bottle I've ever had of it. Batch number 85.
Did you say that was a cigar blend or?
Yes. Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend Bourbon.
Okay.
Actually, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, Jody got me hard last time.
I don't care what nobody says. I think Chuck works for the feds as like a bourbon forensic investigator.
Yeah, I wish I did.
Like, he had bourbon. It was a 2021 batch, and like I know what store he got it from just based off the bottle itself.
And then he goes in there to do his forensic works. He goes, tastes the poo, and he goes, yeah, that was GTS, and it was the 18.
No, whatever. It's truly why we call him the Godfather. He's actually secretly working for the FBI. He gives up people kind of periodically so he can stay afloat. It's like The Departed.
Yeah.
Chuck Escobar.
One of my top 10 movies.
It's one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
What about you, Mark? What you sipping on? He's got to unmute himself.
He already told us. BBC's already told us.
You're still muted.
He's still not unmuted, man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. He's got the thing.
Little Russells.
Yeah, still muted, Mark.
That's the dry fly.
The dry fly, yeah.
The special barrel. Yeah. We can't hear a word coming out of your mouth, sir. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry.
You can just sit there and listen. We're gonna start doing sign language. He looks sad. He's like, oh
no. I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
There he is.
There you go.
Now we can hear you.
I'm not muted, so I don't know. But yeah, this is the dry fly, 138.3 proof, 9 year. Yes. So you see, I'm outside, and I did put a half a cube in.
There you go.
But the only time you'll see me do that, unless I'm
how hot is it there in AZ, Mark?
Actually, you guys are probably hotter. It's 101.
No. I'm sitting at about 75 right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know most of the East Coast.
The heat index in Tennessee is over 100, but
yeah.
And of course, is everything.
I would much rather be at 101 here than 90 or 95 on the East Coast. No humidity.
The dry heat, man. Yes.
This is when it matters.
That's the beauty of it.
The other morning, I left my house about 3:30 in the morning, and it was 85 degrees.
I take my son to football practice in the morning, and we're leaving out like at 6, and it's the past 3 mornings in a row, and it's rained. It's been over 80 degrees, and I'm like, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck?
And the sun's not even out.
Yeah.
And like, I got to mow the grass tomorrow, and I'm sitting here going, come on, dude, you need to give me something here.
I'd be like, fuck that grass.
I need some
Seriously, I
caution
can wait,
players.
man.
Literally.
Grass can wait. It ain't growing that fast, Jody.
Did you
It'll still
guys
be
happen
there.
to see the UPS guy who passed out on somebody's
Yes.
porch?
No, but I believe it.
The
Nice.
guy walks up, he delivers the package, and he's like, and you can see his hands like he's about to go into like some
He's
kind
getting
of
the shakes.
I don't know. Yeah. And he literally like lays down on this guy's porch. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, I need a minute. And when he gets up, he's still wobbly. I'm like, fuck you and the
Yeah.
packages. I'm out.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So it's getting bad. It's really getting bad.
Yeah, and you know, people got to understand their own limits too.
Yes, absolutely.
I tell I mean, my kitchen is hot as fuck, and I look at my cooks every day. I'm like, are you drinking water? I've got Gatorade Zero, I've got G2, and I got regular Gatorade in the cooler. Guys, just make sure you're hydrating.
Yes.
You know, my kitchen's running about 105,
Jesus.
Yeah.
and it's just
When there's no
it
relief.
draws on the air coming in from the outside. If it's hot outside, hot and humid outside, my kitchen is hot and humid.
Yeah.
But it's cool outside. My kitchen can run at 65, 70 degrees. Just depends on the outside temperature. Anyway,
Wow.
so tonight, my choice, I'm doing a little wilderness trail.
Nice.
I am knocking off my wilderness trails. Pre-broadcast, I knocked down one glass. And if we want to talk about the internet, it was about a half an inch from being a Russo pour. Of the first
Speaking
bottle,
of, I'm bringing it right back around. to social media shit.
yeah, it was about that shy of being that much of a Russo pour, and I'm into my second bottle that I need to knock down, and got about that much left. So, bottle and bond, 100 proof, nice and easy drinker, not too hot, not too good drink. So, cheers, gentlemen. Be good to yourselves.
Yes,
That's it.
absolutely.
My glass is
Absolutely.
empty. But
I'll drink to that.
Okay, so listen. You guys seen the label for the bourbon barbecue sauce?
Mhm.
Did.
So
Oh my
every-
god, that looked good.
everything's just about complete. So this is what I need to know from you guys. So
you gonna put a sticker on there like Mark's gonna do?
we're gonna try to keep it classy, but I'm not beyond reproach. So who knows? But what I want to do is, so you see how this bottle has a neck label,
Mhm.
and
Nice.
I probably got this idea about 2 weeks ago. So what I want to do is do one like this, but in the middle of the label, I want to put our initials, and then around the label, the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast. But this is what I need. I need somebody to give me a saying, a slogan, or something.
Put it in your
So-
mouth.
I was gonna say go fuck yourself.
Chuck, you see the shit we got to put up with?
Oh, I see it.
You see
Take
the
my
shit?
sauce.
Put it in and around your mouth.
Yeah, I like that. And that Mark just came up with. That's a good one.
So,
In and around your mouth.
So for every bottle we sell, we're gonna get a sexual harassment lawsuit.
But seriously, if you put that on a bottle, people would fucking cackle. Like they would
Yeah.
see that shit and they'd be like, "I have to buy this now."
Yes.
If you
And
put it
then
on
they
there,
get
if
blown
you
away by the quality.
put it in and around your mouth, they absolutely will
It
do
will
that.
sell.
Oh,
It will
yeah.
sell.
Because
the
that is-
bourbon
that is a-
bottles.
Yeah, but it's also
the
that's
tater
a barbecue
bottles?
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
you guys,
If you
Go
know,
ahead.
you know. I mean,
go ahead, Rob.
in my little venture 2 weeks ago,
Mark,
guys,
let Chuck do the commercial. He better than Ving Rhames.
my little adventure down to the Whiskey Rebellion Festival. We went to the Whiskey Rebellion Center. Anybody familiar with the phrase "by hook or by crook"?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
was
still
actually
think in and around your mouth is perfect.
that was a phrase George Washington used when he talked to, and God, I can't remember the general's name, when he sent his generals into this area, into Western PA. By hook or by crook, go get those guys out of there.
I just want to. I'm a videotape myself standing in front of my printer saying, "Hey, I want to put this in and around your mouth." I want to stand across from my printer, and this is what I'm going to say to her.
You got to do it with a straight face, man. You got to.
Yes.
What you do is you put the WRB like I have on the shirts on the back of it.
Exactly what I'm going to use. Okay.
And then around the side in and around your mouth.
Okay. This feels like the practical jokers.
No, this is fucking true, man. Like it goes both ways. Like, I mean, we got people on here both ways. BBC. Come on.
It goes both ways. I like that.
It's going to be a full on moment, Jody.
Our sauce goes both ways.
Any case, in and around your mouth will be a second choice, but somebody come up with something civilized, please.
Dude, that is civilized.
You know, like
I'm just glad we're allowed to do this again after our last show. Speaking of, I think we're kind of getting back to that level.
Let's do
it like this. Let's come up with something that represents us as a higher class of a group.
I do think in and around your mouth represents us perfectly.
You think back to the few years we've been doing this. We're not fancy, right? Like this sounds appropriate.
Shit story.
No, David, that's perfect. We're not fancy.
See, I like that.
It is right there.
I like that.
We're not, or we ain't fancy.
So put it in your mouth.
Just you know what you could put? You could just put axed.
I could that's or I could put PhD. You know,
you could do that.
So when I send out the bottle,
putting it in your mouth,
in and around your mouth.
There you go.
So when I have a sticker on the back with a lady like having hot dogs bounce off her face.
There you go.
So when I send
a tater sticker on there.
So here's what's going to happen. I'm gonna send out 3 bottles, and everybody's gonna have to bite the bullet on shipping, which shouldn't be too bad. So whoever I send it to is gonna send it to the next person, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna send it with a pen that everybody can sign on the bottle, and when it get back to me, I'll fill it, and then we can give it away. But I need everybody's signature on it. And if you want to put some stupid saying, you know, big nose bastard, PhD, fat chef, you know, BBC, you know, the Godfather, listen, whatever you want to do.
Bottle kill.
There you go. But I'm gonna send out 3 bottles. So, but I like the one we're not fancy. But so like again, it's gonna our initials here, and then we have to come up with something to put around the label. So we're
around your mouth.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Wrap your lips
Rob's
around
over there. He's just sipping his tea or whatever that is. Fucking Kermit the Frog over there.
Hey, Chuck's like, you know what? Chuck's like, you know what? I'm too smart for this shit. Chuck's like, baby. I'm too smart for this shit.
You know.
I need to get out of here.
Chuck is bringing up our more, I guess, seasoned crew of people who might actually like bourbon. Because he talks about the things that are important, where we're talking about a bunch of shenanigans. That's the reason we always put shenanigans into our description. I'm like, so like today I put, you know, we're gonna talk about, you know, social media, this, that, and whatever. Then we're gonna talk about there's gonna be some shenanigans. There'll probably be at least one person that drinks too much, this, that, and whatever. So, and you can figure out who is who. All right, but anyway.
I like Mike's point. Rappers get by going after another rapper. Go after Jody. You were born for this. You were literally born for talking shit about Jack Daniels on this bottle when it comes to you. This is your moment. I'm serious. Like, this was really your moment.
I'm not going to hurt Billy's company by that. Like, in and around your mouth is a barbecue saying. All right. But it's also, it has some other aspects that are great. And I do think if you could put
that's
a
what
tater
you want.
sticker
Okay,
on there.
I hear you.
If you could put the tater sticker on there with the woman with the hot dogs falling over her face, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would.
And dude, I'm telling you, everybody would buy it because dude, taters buy anything.
Yeah, they do.
Well, listen. So here's the thing: we have to figure all this out by the end of August because September the
We
bottles
figured
start
it
going
out
out.
now.
No, seriously, like seriously, let's come
I'm
up with
being
something.
serious. I couldn't be more serious.
This is why
You
you're
see
not
his
HD.
His face is very serious right now.
Absolutely serious.
Yeah.
You should put a poll. You should put a poll on the page that says, "Hey, do you guys want in and around your mouth, or we ain't fancy,
Where do you want it?
or like I don't know, something else." And I'm telling you,
At least it doesn't say Billy White sauce around your mouth.
you could do that too. You could have a picture put on there of one of us, not me, that has the sauce all over the face.
With a
I
volcano.
got a great idea. I got a perfect idea.
Well, we
Okay.
can all do it.
A bukkake scene.
Oh no! Oh no!
I was gonna say, is
I'm
this
out.
gonna be?
I'm
Is
out,
this
man.
gonna be a barbecue facial? Like, is this?
I'm out.
Is this what we're doing?
I'm out.
It's a great
That's it.
idea, right?
We could do like instead of
It's
two
gotta
girls
be
in a
the
cup,
slammer
we
sauce
could
if
have
we're gonna do it,
barbecue in a cup.
Gotta be
Listen,
slammer
people are
sauce.
going to buy this.
There was those
gonna love
commercials
it.
several years ago.
I love Chuck.
They used to have hot models on there with some kind of barbecued sandwich.
You talking about the Hardee's
And the
commercials?
sauce- was
Yeah,
it
no,
Hardee's?
no, it was
No,
Arby's. No, Hardee's. It was Hardee's. It was.
and it
Hardee's.
was
Yeah,
whatever
That's
whatever.
what you need.
There's this giant ass burger, and there was
She
a
could be just there, just
a bottle
pouring
of,
the
like-
sauce.
But now think about that. Where did they have the sauce from those burgers? In and around their mouth.
Well, and on other body parts, but who's
I'm
knows?
good
You
with
could,
that,
you
too.
could put in and around their mouth,
Oh,
and you
man.
can put like font 1 on boobs. I'm down with that too.
I'm not putting in around her mouth. I'm not doing that. You ain't set me up for that shit.
you say your mouth, and you let people just
I let whoever want to put
Embrace
it in
whether or
around
not
their
they're putting-
mouth. I am not putting her. No,
Love it.
no.
Think about it. Think about it.
That is automatic cancel.
Can
culture
you
right
at least
there.
sleep
Yeah.
on it? Can you sleep on it and think about it?
Sleep on all in your mouth.
Listen, I'll sleep on a lot of things. I'll sleep on a nice, comfortable bed tonight, but I am not sleeping on in and around her mouth. I am not sleeping on that.
all I can say is ask the women in your lives whether or not they think that's funny.
Axe the women
Axe.
in your life.
You can ask the women in your life.
Which, by the way, is a
Wives,
felony in all
girlfriends,
50
fiancés.
states. By the way, just want to point that out. By the way, if you axed anybody, it's a felony.
Dude.
Just want to point that out.
Nice cigar.
You mispronounce
Mark.
big
Nice.
words all the time. You really shouldn't be the guy like correcting other people's English. I'm just saying. But ask the women in your life whether or not they find that amusing. That would probably give you a pretty good indication of whether or not you should put that on a bottle somewhere.
I would probably say that's a no.
Yeah.
Probably no.
When
Bottle
did
kill
we
on the
ever
green
listen
spot,
to
by the way.
women?
Nice.
Oh shit.
Well, that might indicate why there's none that come on the show. But
All right, so listen. Well, we had to remove one because
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, she would like in her mouth.
she had no
I'm-
problem saying whatever the hell she wanted to. But anyway,
This
listen,
is-
guys.
Oh!
All right, we're at
All
the end of the show, so it's been fun, been real, been kind of fun, kind of real. Anyway, guys, everybody have fun. Everybody be safe. Don't drink and drive. I don't have anything yet, but it's there.
Love y'all, brothers.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Indeed.
Everybody, peace out. And again, say a quick prayer for our president. He got cancer and COVID in the same week. I mean, that's pretty fucking
And I think
miserable.
he's gonna die because I don't
Last
pray.
week.
That's
What's
too
that?
bad. So he's gonna die because I don't pray. I guess that's too bad.
Who is this?
Well, at least give him your thoughts and prayers. What'd you say, Chuck?
I believe he fell off his bike a week or so ago. So
That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, him.
my apologies.
He scraped his knees. I was down on my beach trip and I was like twiddling through
Are we
Twitter.
still doing a group trip, by the way? Like, is that a thing
Yes,
or not?
I am going on a group trip with or without you guys.
But you have to tell us when.
That was 3 months ago.
No, let's do
I'm
it.
going on the
Let's
beach
do it.
trip. It was last week. I didn't invite you. Why weren't you there? Like,
Okay, all right, here we go. The week of the 20th of August.
August 20th.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay.
I can do that.
Hey, and didn't our lovely president fall up a flight of stairs twice?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm in. I don't,
2 or 3, but whatever.
So, hey, listen, I got nothing against the guy, but did anybody see the picture they posted of him? I think it was today, of him sitting at his desk, and the dude looked rough. He
Oh,
looked rough.
Well, I mean, dude, he just got cancer and COVID.
He looked rough.
Here's the shit coming from.
Please end this before we get too far.
He looked like he spent the night at the Dirty Rabbit.
That's our next vacation spot.
Might not hippity hop. Will it hippity hop?
Oh, my brothers.
We gotta go, guys.
Yeah, we gotta go.